Guys, welcome back to the show. I got a solo podcast today, but let's get right into things. Let me ask you a question to open this up. When was the last time you truly made a bold move in your life? Just think about that. Not calculated, not, just a bold one. You felt what you were supposed to do and you just went and did it. Most people, if they ask that question, you have to go back a ways to really remember when you did that, right? And that made me really think of this topic that had me thinking differently the other day, which is playing to win versus playing to lose. And I think that it's a totally, completely different game. And I want to talk about the mindset between the two because there is times when I flip into playing to lose, and there are times when I'm flipping the switch to play to win, and it is completely different outcomes as well. So, welcome back to the show. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is what does it look like? So I wrote down some notes here about some things that came to my mind when I asked myself this question, right? And really what it comes down to is this. It's your primary goal. It's whether you've said it out loud or not. A lot of times playing to lose looks like avoiding failure, avoiding embarrassment, avoiding regret. It's not about getting somewhere, it's more about protecting what you have or protecting your ego. So that is like my definition of playing to lose, right? Now, that's just how I look at it. So I want to give you both, right? You hesitate, you're overthinking, you're waiting for permission, you're waiting for certainty. That's a big one. When you're playing to lose, you're just waiting for the right timing. You're waiting till you feel good, till you feel right. And it creeps into every little thing that you do during the day, right? And so those are the feelings that at least I have when I know I'm playing to lose. You say things like, I don't know, this is going to feel safe. Should I actually do this? All the things, right? And the sneaky one for me is you kind of start comparing yourself to the worst outcome. And I don't know if this relates to you guys, but you start comparing to, well, at least I'm not this bad. Well, at least it's not that bad. Well, at least, I've made this much money, or at least I'm not that fat or overweight, right? You start comparing to honestly like the worst case scenario. And it's like when you're comparing to the lowest of lows, that's when I know that I'm playing to lose. I'm in that bad mentality. That is not the winning mentality. So to play from the other side, right? I want to tell you kind of, first of all, in my life, you can tell when people are playing to win versus playing to lose. And for example, when you're watching sports, you can see the certain play calls. You can see the way that the team is going about it versus when they're playing not to lose, right? Now, I'm not even saying there's sometimes you're playing to win and you can still lose the game, but you had the mentality that you were there to win. You were going for it, right? So it's a mentality that I'm speaking about here. It's not necessarily the results. I feel like the result will come if you were playing to win. So when I was playing college football, you could tell the guys that were out there ready to make plays. So let me give you an example. In college football, a lot of guys are wanting to not lose their spot because every year you get new guys in the program, you get new people, fresh guys that are ready to take your spot or transfer portal or whatever the case may be. And so every year you had the guys on the team that were like, man, I don't want to mess this up because I don't want to lose my spot, or I don't want to mess up this drill, or I don't want to make a crazy play because I don't want them to get behind me, or I don't want to give up a touchdown. I don't want to drop the ball. So I'm just going to, really catch it within my chest and make sure that I don't drop the ball. You could tell the timidity in certain guys on the football field that were playing just with this mentality that I don't want to lose my spot. I don't want to lose what I've gained, right? And again, you're comparing yourself to the worst possible situation versus you saw the guys out there that were like, no, I'm here to make a play today. I'm going all out. I don't care what it is. I'm going to make a play. I'm going for the interception. I'm going for the pass breakup. I'm going for the tackle. I'm going to strip the ball. I'm going for, the touchdown, or I'm going to catch the ball. So I'm not worried about it, right? I'm going to make a play today. They just had this mentality of, I'm out there to make plays, to go after it, to perform. They had goals in terms of that versus just trying to hold on to my spot that I have. So that was the big difference maker for me if I were to break it down on like a tangible thing, what playing to win actually looks like from that perspective. Now, if I were to break it down in another version, playing to win, like a definition, right? I kind of wrote some things down, is intentional. It means you know where you're going. Every decision you make, you're asking whether it runs toward or away from your goals, and you're making decisions that way. The difference is when you're playing to win, you're looking for the upside. You're looking for what this is going to get you and lead you to this new version of yourself. You're always trying to expand. You're always trying to become a better version, to give more to the world, to give more to yourself. And when you're playing to lose, you're always asking the question, what could go wrong? That's the first question you're asking, because you don't want to lose your money. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose this. You don't want to mess something up. You don't want to make someone mad. You don't want to speak the truth. And I'll be real. I think that everybody has the ability to have these thoughts, but the people that play to win that I've seen over and over again, and for myself, there's times when I dip into either area, and so I have to catch myself on this. That's why I'm making this podcast, so I remind myself to play to win. Both of us are going to have those thoughts. The ones that do it anyway, I think, are the ones that play to win and go win, right? And they just don't care that they have that mentality. They're going to have those thoughts, what could go wrong, this and that, but then they override it with my goals, what I'm achieving. I'm here to make a play, right? So I wanted to leave with 3 examples, right? Because this podcast is about sales, fitness, becoming the best version of yourself. So let's talk about sales and my perspective of this. So I'm on sales calls a lot. And so I have a very good perspective of the type of version that steps onto the calls that is playing to not lose, and the one that is playing to win. The person playing not to lose, when they jump on a sales call, just imagine this. You jump on the sales call, you're trying to control everything, you don't want to offend the person, you're kind of tiptoeing around certain questions. They say something and you're like, you kind of ignore it, like it's okay. You're I don't know, you're just saying what the person wants to hear. Nothing too crazy happens on the sales call. It's not like you said anything wrong to get the sell, but you also played it so safe. Again, you're on prevent defense on the sales call. If you're on prevent defense on the sales call, you're going to lose games way more than you win. Way more than you win. Look at the teams that do that come in and they're playing everything safe, right? And then the other side is like, you start to feel inauthentic. You're on the sales call and you're not saying the things that are coming to your mind. You're not actually calling the prospect out when they say some bull crap like, oh, I just don't have time, or I don't have the energy, or whatever it is. And you just start to feel inauthentic, and then you lose the sale anyway. That's the point of this, is you lose the sale anyway. And so if we can just change our mindset to playing to win, you'll have way more authenticity, but also you tell the truth. The other version of me that jumps on a sales call tells the truth no matter what, doesn't care if they offend the other person, because they're trying to help them. They want the truth to be told. They don't care about, making them feel better or feel good. No. That's not what they're here for. They're here for a change. They're here to improve their life. So you hold them to that standard. You tell the truth. It's not like a performance. It's very authentic. You're like, nah, I'm gonna tell them the truth here. And if the product's right for this person, they're gonna hear the truth and they're gonna want to buy, or they're gonna say, no, screw you, I don't want to do this. But who cares if they do that? They wouldn't have bought anyway. If you played it safe, they wouldn't have bought either way. So it's always better to play to win. Have that mentality. The truth will set you free, right? And it's like the same call can happen, but whatever version you decide to show up on, it's going to be completely different energy. It's going to be a completely different mindset and a completely different outcome. every single time. To give you an example in fitness, there's, the person in fitness, right? For me, it's like playing to win would be, I don't want to gain weight. Okay. That's definitely playing not to lose because you're, you're like, I just don't want to gain weight and I don't want to feel worse than I did last year. Again, you're comparing to the worst version of yourself. You're comparing to like this floor of like, oh, I just don't want to gain more weight. I'll be good if I just don't gain more weight. If I can just stay here, I'll be good. Or, if I can only, you're playing to lose. In fitness, I don't play that way. I wake up, I want to be the best that I can be. I want to be the 1%er. I want to be the fittest version of myself. I want six pack abs year round. I want to be shredded. I want to have the best body that I can have, the best energy, the sharpest mind. That's the target. And I'm never going to reach it, but I'm always going to go for it because I'm playing to win. And in fitness and health, I get on calls all day long with guys that are playing to not lose. And I promise you their results show for that. You can tell. They don't have the body. They don't have the results because they're sitting here just worried that they don't want to gain weight. I just don't want to feel worse. I just don't want to, I just want to, lose a couple pounds. That ain't going to get you anywhere. You're just running away from the pain of the worst case scenario. And it's the same scenario, those two different mindsets. And I don't even care if you're not in shape right now. When I was 50 pounds heavier, I still had that mindset that I was going to get in the best shape of my life, have abs, feel amazing, have confidence, have energy. Somewhere along the way, people will tell you that it's not achievable, it's not sustainable. It's all the bullcrap. That was some of the stuff that got in my head in the past. It's not sustainable to be, 10% body fat. According to who? Why is that a thing? What do you mean? It's not sustainable. Anything's sustainable if you have high enough standards for yourself. Anything is sustainable. It's all based on standards. So yeah, those are the two scenarios in sales and fitness that I want you to think about. And over time, you just have a completely different life. Two different outcomes. Tell me the different outcomes. If I have two guys, let's say they're both 50 pounds overweight. One of them is like, nah, man, I want to get abs. I want to get in the best shape of my life. I want to actually have energy and confidence and be able to take my shirt off at the beach. Then this other guy's like, I just don't want to gain any more weight. I just want to, lose a few pounds. Completely different scenario. Both guys are going to have a completely different outcome because one's playing to win and one's playing not to lose. I think the only way to make the switch is to have awareness. I think that I'm starting to have awareness. There's times in my life when I'm playing not to lose, I'm playing everything safe, and life just starts to suck. Life just starts to suck you out, suck you dry. You start to feel like you just feel worse. It's not as fun. Life is to be enjoyed. Life is to be progressing. You're supposed to be getting better, having a vision of a better version of yourself. And the funny thing is we will never attain it. So it is, you got to enjoy the journey. You do have to, love yourself where you're at now. But again, you can get caught up in the opposite, which is never progressing. So I think awareness is how you make the switch. Have that awareness, the feeling of both. And when you think back on times in your life when you've felt better and when you've been playing to win, ask yourself, right, what you're doing right now. Am I playing to win or am I playing not to lose? That's the question that I've been asking myself and I continue to ask myself. And find that area in your life where you're doing that and it will set you free in other areas of your life. That's the show, guys. That's all I got today. I hope it hit home. I hope it resonated with you guys. But let's go play to win. Let's go get after it. Until next time.